Hey guys, just a quick video to show you some of the cool things I tried and had a play with at Simracing Expo in Dortmund. First up was the new Fanatec ClubSport DD wheelbase with the Formula rim that I'm very familiar with because I use a similar one myself on my ClubSport wheelbase 2.5. So this was the most interesting one for me just because I am realistically thinking quite heavily about purchasing this one, so I wanted to give it a go, and they had it set up with iRacing. F4 at Spa, to be honest, I wanted a bit more beefy than F4 at Spa, just because F4 is a pretty stable car. I wanted to see if I could catch some slides easier, perhaps. Maybe it's more natural. I don't know. I've never really used a direct drive wheelbase properly before, so yeah, I wanted something that later on in the footage here I sort of try and kick the rear out on purpose to slide it, but you know, that's a bit different to losing it on your own. All in all, it felt nice though. You know, I felt up to speed straight away. I mean, I say up to speed. I'm sure my lap times aren't amazing, but like, it felt natural. It felt good. And yeah, not crazy strong or anything like some of the wheelbases that we'll come to later. Some of the ones later on definitely gave me a workout. Yeah, all in all, it felt nice. I wish I'd spent more time with it, really. I can't give it like a proper judgment whether it's really better than what I currently have. I can't really tell. But yeah, it was good to give it a go, since yeah, I may well end up with this thing in the future. Next up was the Cammus C5, which was a very strange wheel. If you're not familiar with it, it's the wheel. It's a direct drive wheel, but the motor is in the actual wheel rim, essentially, rather than the base. So the base is just like a table clamp or a rig clamp or whatever, mounting base, and then the forces sort of go in the opposite way. The result is the same, but it's obviously rather odd, and you get this sort of very bulbous looking wheel rim. It didn't feel like crazy heavy or anything, to be honest. I thought it might. It wasn't. You couldn't really tell too badly, but it was a weird feeling thing anyway. I mean, I'm not really a fan of the kind of small round rim, which didn't help. But it was a bit of a strange and different feeling. You can certainly. You're very aware that the thing is massive in front of you. I don't know if that would bother you in a long session if you're used to the wheel, but it's certainly weird. And I know the shifters on this are tinier. When I've tried to pull off, I thought, where the hell are the shifters? The paddles, they're just really tiny and really close to the actual sort of motor housing, I guess. And then here you see I'm sort of feeling the housing, because this thing gets, the whole motor is in your wheel rim, and I was inevitably feeling it because my fingers were touching the housing just to reach the paddle shifters, and you know, I could feel a bit of warmth, so I sort of felt the whole thing. I'm like, yep, no, the whole thing is quite hot. Not like unbearably so by any means. It's just warm. It's fine. It's not a hazard or anything like that. But strange. Certainly not something you really get on a more traditionally designed wheel. It felt okay though, to be honest. You know, yeah. I think this is a rather budget wheel, so maybe as a budget DD, it's pretty good. But you know, maybe for only a little bit more, you can get something like the CSL DD or Moza R5 or whatever their sort of lowest one. They got an R3 now, I think. I think R3 is probably going to be the more logical choice, especially because this you can never change the rim, because the rim is the wheelbase. Kind of stuck with it. Next up was a combination of things at the Grid Finder booth. This was a track racer rig with the Asetek Invicta wheelbase, very, very powerful high-end wheelbase, which was very nice, and not sure what pedals they were using. They may have been Asetek too, but also a Varjo Aero VR headset. I don't use VR very often. I don't have a VR headset myself, so I've only tried it on occasion. This is probably the most proper rig that I've tried it with, to be honest. And it was really nice. I'm not sort of looking around at the start of this clip, because I find when I do use VR, I don't really look around much. I tend to sit facing forward like I'm on a screen, so I try and a few times just on purpose move my head around to try and actually make use of it. I do seem to be looking to the apex a little bit in these corners, but yeah, I feel like I'm not really making the most of it. The wheelbase was really nice, actually. I'm not used to AC. This is Asetek, of course, running on this rig, and I'm not even sure what Formula car this is, but I'm not familiar with it, but despite that, you see in the footage I'm catching a few slides here and there, and I get used to the feeling of it. I must say that this wheelbase really just, it is a high-end one, of course, so you kind of expect it, but you know, I could really, as a wheelbase I'm not familiar with, I was really like comfortable in catching slides, which I was really impressed with. I suppose that's what you should expect though for the money. The wheel rim itself, I felt kind of feels a bit cheap. I'm not sure what the exact price of the rim is, but it didn't feel like a particular upgrade over, say, the Fanatec Formula rim that I use, honestly. Maybe the price point of the actual wheel is similar anyway, I need to have a look at that, but kind of expected more just because the wheel base, and we'll talk about the pedals later in the video, but the wheel base from Asetek is really top notch. This is the Grit Racing booth, and they promise that you will feel constant G-forces through innovative electro-pneumatic cushions. And you see the rig is a whole motion rig. I didn't really notice or feel the sort of actual movements of the rig while driving, honestly, but while focused didn't really feel it. But the main thing that they were sort of showing off was this sort of G-force simulation, at least simulating the feel of it. And what they had is, you can see there's sort of some wires heading into the, like, my left and my right side there. These sort of cushions will sort of push into you. So if you're going through a right-hand corner, the left cushion will sort of push into your side to make it supposedly feel like you are being pushed into the left side of the seat by the G-forces. I found really, I mean, haven't really used many. This is like probably the most interesting motion rig I've ever used, but obviously it doesn't feel like G-forces. It feels like something's pushing into you much more than you are being pushed into it, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was interesting, but I don't think it really adds a lot. It feels a little bit gimmicky, honestly, just because it doesn't feel, it's not going to feel like G-force. And so I'm not sure it's really, I don't know what this system would cost, but honestly it's, I don't think it's going to really add a lot, and I'm sure it costs a little bit. So I must say though, actually this is unrelated to the actual proper booth, but the Cube Controls wheel, I think it was the first time I used a Cube Controls wheel, and that felt super, the actual grip in my hands felt super comfortable. I really liked that one. VRS were there, and kind of to be expected with their sort of sponsorship going on, but all the booths were Rennsport, and they had a hot lap competition going on, so it was kind of cool. I could scan my QR code, scan the QR code on the screen and sort of log in to this booth with my account. So I was actually Reska Kyoso in this game and on this leaderboard. Unfortunately, I think they missed a trick because I can't find the leaderboard for this event in my app now. I can't see where I placed at the end of the day. I was 30th or something when I did it, which seemed pretty low, honestly. But I can't see where I finished at the end of the day because it didn't go into the app, which I feel like is a missed opportunity. I can see all the ESL R1 results, but not get the thing I actually participated in. So. Oh well, but yeah, the VRS setup, they had obviously, it must have been VRS wheelbase, rim, pedals, felt really nice. I think this was the Porsche Cup car, not the GT3, I think. And yeah, I'm not really used to the Rennsport, but it felt super natural. And I think Rennsport drives pretty well, honestly. You know, the driving feel in Rennsport is, you know, the last of its problems. But yeah, getting used to it on these new pedals felt really nice. The pedals, I got used to sort of braking quite well, I think, and yeah, I could feel a lot through the wheel as well. I mean, I think Rennsport drives quite well even on my wheelbase at home, but yeah, just these VRS pedal and wheelbase felt really good as well. This was one of the most interesting booths for me. It was a combination of BavarianSimTec, which is the wheel rim I'm using there, but also a company that does sort of custom built rigs, which looked interesting. They very much are sort of custom built, tailor-made, because they had no movement of seat or pedals, and I'm not the tallest guy, so I was sort of reaching out for this rim. It was fine to drive, to be honest, but not how I would set out. But anyway, I think it was I'm not sure what wheel base this is now, I can't remember, but the wheel rim is very nice. I really liked holding onto this one. It was kind of big. The screen, I decided I don't need a screen on a wheel rim, because even, like, I'm pretty low down, but even then I'm just looking at the game rather than the screen on the wheel. Maybe if you're in a proper Formula position it makes more sense, but I'm going to always use the in-game HUD even if I have a fancy wheel like this. So, but the feel of the actual rim, if they do one without like a screen, which I should look up, yeah, one of the nicer sort of rims I used in my opinion. And the pedals, they had the Asetek, I think they were the Asetek Invicta pedals. I'm not entirely sure if they were, but they must have been something really nice, because they were definitely Asetek, and they felt so good, honestly. Again, like the VRS ones before, really natural to sort of get used to the braking. This is the Porsche GT3 for sure, in iRacing this time. It's a bit different anyway. At least I'm kind of more used to iRacing, but I sort of, I don't know, I was able to just, it was really stiff. Like, you didn't have much throw to it, because it doesn't move very far, but you push it very hard to move it, which is very different from what I'm used to. But I was kind of getting used to that really quickly. Still only had a few laps, of course, but I felt like something I could really be good with if I got used to it, So yeah, that kind of sold me on these pedals. Not sold me, because the price tag's high and I'm not sure I need it, but they are very nice, actually. Like, I'm surprised that I had sort of a first impression like that just from a few laps, So I was very impressed with that.